Okay, this is an interview with Sweetwater Branch Inn for the Gainesville Business History Oral History Project, run by the Inquire Capitalism Program of the History Department at the University of Florida. Understand that for us and for the public, the information you are providing is a gift and an incredible historical resource, and we dearly appreciate it. This interview will be available as part of UF Oral History Collections and through UF Digital Collections and YouTube. Can you please introduce yourself? What's your full name, and could you please spell it?
All right, my name is Maria Cornelia Holbrook. Maria is M-A-R-I-A. Cornelia is C-O-R-N-E-L-I-A. Last name is Holbrook, H-O-L-B-R-O-O-K.
Nice, thank you.
And I go by my middle name. There are a lot of Marias in Latin America. Everybody would turn around.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Where did you grow up, and how you came to Gainesville?
So I am the first generation American. My father came here to get his doctorate in physics in 1969. My mother is from northern Italy, and my father is from Chile, from the Valparaiso area, port town, or city, I should say. And I've been here since I was 5 years old.
Wow, nice. Where did you go to school? What was the trajectory of your education?
So I went to P.K. Young Laboratory School and started there in elementary school and went there through my 8th grade year. And then I transferred to Gainesville High School, which was right near where we grew up in Florida Park. Mm-hmm. And then I went to the University of Florida.
Nice. Yeah. What did you study?
Anthropology, of all things.
Yeah. So how did you go from anthropology to Sweetwater, to the inn?
So my mother started Holbrook Travel, which is a nature-based ecotourism niche travel business, where she would engage experts in fields like Lepidoptera, ichthyology, ornithology, and she would put together very specialized educational groups, special interest groups to go to very exotic places. And so as a young girl, I traveled extensively with her when I was not in school, and helped her in many capacities, sometimes just as a tag along when I was a little girl. But as I grew older, I ended up working in the galley of a kitchen, getting food out in the Galapagos Islands and very strange places, and in the Amazon, where at times the kitchen did not put out the kind of food that was required of the level of people that she had traveling with her. And so I started going to very exotic hotels, inns, places that were very much out of the normal scope of what hospitality looked like, especially in the 70s and 80s. So I was familiar with specialty travel, and that's kind of where Sweetwater, fits in that picture. My mother and father were also very involved with Historic Gainesville. They helped actually form Historic Gainesville with a very well-known physician in town that started the Matheson Museum, Dr. Barrow.
Yeah.
And him and Mary, Dr. Barrow and Mary Barrow, saved a lot of buildings from demolition. And my parents found it to be a worthy endeavor. My mother always loved beautiful things, and of course these old buttes had their value. And she, during, especially in the late 70s, early 80s, these old houses had become sort of obsolete, and the families that owned them and lived in them had moved west, and so they became they started to become student rentals, and then they often met their demise. Yeah. And they were often in the way of new construction, and so they were demolished. And my mom and dad saved several of these houses. And my mother had seen the McKenzie house sort of halfway boarded up, and recognized its beauty. This house is known as one of the iconic Queen Anne Victorian houses in Gainesville, and it was in terrible disrepair. And so they took this endeavor on.
Yeah, cool. So you would say the travel and with your mom is really what kind of led you to this?
Absolutely,
this work,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I understood what a transformation could look like. You know, some people look at an old house and they just cannot conceive of what it can look like. and with the endeavor that it takes to get there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I remember working in this room actually as a 13-year-old, basically taking stuff to the dump. So, yeah.
Okay.
All right, we're back.
You're back. So, can I ask, in the beginning, I guess, of starting the inn and running the inn, what was sort of the atmosphere, the guest experience that you wanted to create, or what did you want to, share with the people that came and stayed here?
Well, when I first opened, I opened up in the Cushman-Colson house, which is the house next door. It's not this house. I had never envisioned opening my inn in that house.
Yeah.
But my mother saw the value of starting. She lived in this house, so she wasn't ready to move. And the house next door, the Cushman-Colson house, I always say I made a silk purse out of a sow's ear. That house is really considered a vernacular Victorian. It's definitely more reminiscent of agricultural Gainesville, as opposed to this house, which is definitely more exemplary of a prosperous Gainesville, with the railway having been completed, and the heart pine cypress industry really going into full swing. And so with the longleaf pine industry, phosphate mining, this house was definitely very different from the house next door.
Yeah.
And that house was in terrible disrepair. It had been owned by people that were more middle income, and it had already been divided up considerably. It was not left in its entirety.
Yeah.
So after the war, after the Second World War, the two sisters, I think they were both widowed, had made that house into a boarding house.
Oh, wow.
Which was very typical of the time before motels.
Yeah.
They were called tourist homes. And then after, all the motels opened up, you needed a huge parking lot to accommodate the cars in the 1960s and 70s, even in the late 50s, how cars got so big. That became a place for mostly vets, Vietnam vets, and there was a lot of unusual traffic in and out of there at all times, even at night. The ambulance was always there, the police were always there, and she recognized that even though I wanted to create an inn in this space, that it really wasn't going to be possible until the Cushman-Colson house was renovated and restored. And so I was actually in Africa at the time, working with our Rhodes Scholar programs. It was then called Elder Hostel. And I really wasn't ready to open an inn because I knew that it would be a bit like dairy farming. I mean, you just don't leave.
Yeah.
You don't get to travel. But this was my dream to do this, since I couldn't be a professional ballet dancer or singer. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll do this, because I love hospitality, and I love cooking, and I love gardening. So all the pieces kind of fit together.
Yeah.
And I loved restoration, did not mind getting my hands dirty. And so I started off with the Cushman-Colson house, and really my goal for guests was to have them walk into a beautifully restored home and enjoy its glory and its beauty and its charm.
Yeah.
When I opened the Cushman-Colson house, in the 90s, it was still pretty popular to use old clawfoot tubs. Now all of them have been ripped out with the exception of one, and it's just an auxiliary. There's now a walk-in shower, but I really tried to recreate the feeling of staying in a Victorian home.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Nice. Can you talk a little more about the history of the buildings, maybe this building and I guess all the buildings, from their original construction through to.
Right. So these homes, you can imagine that in the 1880s, most people were being raised in a one-room house.
Yeah.
So what these houses must have looked like, these were all prominent Gainesville families.
Yeah.
The Cushman-Colson house, while it is a vernacular Victorian, and it was surrounded by pecan groves, this house was not built. So this house is 10 years. This house is 1895, and the Cushman-Colson house is 1885.
Oh, wow.
It was really at the tail end of the agricultural heyday of Alachua County. There was some cotton growing, but mostly it was tung oil, pecan groves, and one other crop I can't remember. Dr. Colson moved in that house with his family, Cornelia Colson. That's why, hence one of the rooms is named Cornelia. He had a little. His medical practice was in that house, and that was at a time where I'm sure people did a lot of bartering in order to get medical services given to them. But it was still, at that time, doctors were middle income. They were prominent. He actually was on the city commission. He paved the way and helped bring electricity to Gainesville. Very involved community-wise and politically.
Yeah.
But he was not an affluent man. He was not a wealthy man.
Yeah.
He was a recognized member of the community. This house was built by a Mr. Lambert originally. He only owned the house for 10 years until it was then sold to Mr. Pound. And Mr. Pound was the treasurer of Baird Hardware. And Baird Hardware is it's where Heartwood Soundstage is.
Yeah.
That was the big hardware store and lumber yard. And I think they just recently pulled up some of the rails, but the railway used to come right up to Baird Hardware. And so being the treasurer of Baird Hardware, it is my suspicion, and also verified through our historical architect, Jay Reeves, that much of the trim that is very high-end probably came from a connection that Mr. Pound had in the lumber industry. Because not very many houses have this. In Alachua County, I only know of one other house that has this pressed heart pine. And they have different designs throughout the house. And some of the fireplaces don't sync up with the trim. Like they didn't finish, or they decided it wasn't important. This fireplace mantle does work with the trim in this house, but the one in the floor, the main living room, really doesn't. It's sort of like, how do those two go together? So just as any house has its progression of remodeling, and so when Mr. Pound brought his bride home, Mary McKenzie, he wanted to bring her home to this elegant house, and there's also a suspicion that this turret was added, because a lot of homes during the Victorian times were kit homes. Some of them were even Sears and Roebuck homes that would then get added to like Legos. So that concept was from long ago. And it's our suspicion that this turret was added. It was actually a much simpler house that got additions to it.
Cool. Nice. How have the grounds in general changed over the years? Like, what was the process of expanding and opening more cottages and more rooms?
Well, honestly, I'd had the vision of what this would look like. I think when I was like 16 years old, I actually remember waking up and going, oh, this could be this and this could be that. So I definitely had a long-term vision of what it would look like, and it's pretty close to what I had envisioned 40 years ago or more. And of course, gardens were always very important to in the Victorian time. In English, it's sort of reminiscent of what England did, these lavish gardens. And of course, Florida is such a great place for palms. Victorians loved palms. At every wedding, there would be lavish palms, and they would intricately describe all the palms that were at the wedding that were brought in from some tropical place. They very much loved that Asian look. And so I have a room that's very oriental in its nature. And of course, Florida's perfect for that. So the sago palms are probably originally from when they were planted here. Probably at the turn of the century, because some of these, I have specimen sago palms that are easily 100 years old.
Wow.
But this was the center of town. This was where it was all happening. The University of Florida was, University of Florida was already a seminary, I do believe, but I don't think it was a proper university yet. So the house, the Cushman-Colson house, was the first house. This house was built in 1885, very reminiscent of a more prosperous Gainesville with a railway being completed. And then the Colson house was built in 1905, and is also reminiscent of a business-based Gainesville, and that our first title agency owner, Barney Colson, built that house. And at one point, there was a Colson in each house, and they were actually cousins, so they were tied. This is old Gainesville families that homesteaded. A lot of them homesteaded from South Carolina. A big center for the homesteading of this area was Camden, South Carolina. They brought, people immigrated in families, and they still do, right?
Yeah.
People want to move together where they have some association and they build community. And they also brought their slaves. And so that Mount Pleasant, the Pleasant Street Methodist Church and that area was the slave communities of these larger families that moved from Camden, South Carolina.
Yeah. So. Interesting. And what has the renovation process been like, or really what was maybe the most challenging renovation that you had to take on?
Probably the most challenging renovation aspect that I encountered was trying to meet safety codes and still keep the charm, because they really wanted me to change the staircases so that they were safer. Make that. So, but then somebody seeing a staircase built for safety does certainly not coincide with the beauty of an old staircase.
Yeah.
And the fact that I had to, in order to open up the third floor of this house, because there are actually 2 guest rooms on the third floor, I had to create an exterior exit. Okay. So there was extensive renovations that had to be done to create safety code to meet. And then, of course, all the sprinkler systems, fire alarms, all those things. And those are constantly a problem. My new general manager, Ron, can testify to that. So we're always being inspected, and there are always challenges associated with that.
Did the houses have plumbing when?
No.
No plumbing. You had
no
to put that
plumbing.
All in.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so. This house got its first bathroom probably in like 1905, and it's beautifully shown in the Julia room that has an old style. Must have been a state-of-the-art bathroom. I cannot imagine. And people say, well, why don't you change that vanity? I'm like, why would I change that vanity? Because it is quintessentially like a 1910 bathroom with the original tile.
Yeah.
And it actually has the original glass tile in the window of the shower stall. It's this huge shower stall. I just can't imagine. People must have been blown away when they saw a bathroom of that magnitude when it was completed. But both bathrooms. There were 2 bathrooms added at the same time. So yeah.
During the process of the renovations, did you make any discoveries about the history of the house or the way the houses have changed?
Well, we found letters, old letters that I wish I had. My mother found old letters in the walls about a love affair that was going on, and I wish I could see those letters, but I don't know whatever happened to them.
Yeah.
So that was a discovery. We did have to change a few things. So this house had a servants' quarters staircase because they didn't want the servants coming in and out the front steps, the front stairwell. So it had one of those really steep, dark staircases that led its way down to the first floor from the second floor.
Yeah.
So.
Find a doctor's sign underneath one of the houses.
Oh yeah, that's right. So fortunately the Dr. Colson sign, James Colson, was found underneath the house, the Cushman-Colson house, and I do have it displayed.
Oh,
so,
nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
In terms of the, I guess, competitors in the industry when you first opened, what was the environment like in Gainesville with other hotels or inns or bed and breakfasts when you first
So I was the second inn to open, but I had already secured my name because I knew I wanted to do this years before I did it. So my mom loved the name Sweetwater Branch Inn, and she, what do you call, patented the name or registered the name. And when the Magnolia, then called Magnolia Plantation, which has now become sort of not a good name, so they changed it to the Magnolia. But the owners who are still the owners, and I encourage you to interview them, Joe and Cindy Montalto. Have you reached out to them yet?
I don't think so, no.
Oh, they're wonderful.
We'll have to do that, yeah.
They have been at it for a year and a half longer than I have. And they wanted the name. That's how my mother found out. I was in Kenya at the time. And she said, you know, they're going to open an inn. When I opened, people were like, oh, that's not something that'll work in Gainesville. Because it was mostly something that you would see up north, right, in the Cape Cod area. It was a northern thing. And they also had quite a reputation for having shared bathrooms. You know, the early inns were not as creature comfort oriented. So we were a lot busier when we first opened, actually. The first 15 years, my occupancy always hovered around 75 to 80%.
Wow, yeah.
But there was not as many box hotels, and the States wasn't quite as corporatized at that time. I think things, you know, could come around, but of course with the advent of Airbnb, it makes it difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were super busy, and there was no Hampton Inn downtown. So if you wanted to stay downtown, you had to stay in an inn. Yeah, and that was it.
Yeah.
So,
how has like the expansion of the university and all these new construction have you noticed it impacting?
Absolutely,
business?
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to have many more University of Florida accounts. It was a natural fit for them. I used to have a van that would do transfers back and forth.
Yeah.
The Holiday Inn was certainly a substandard. It's come up in the last 10, 15 years. The University of Florida really didn't have any hotels. Now, you know, they started out with using their public land for a corporate entity was met with a lot of resistance. When I used to be part of a general manager's meeting, there was a lot of reluctance and resistance toward allowing that to happen, because you're not playing and competing against the same. They don't pay property taxes. Yeah. So it's definitely much tougher. So yeah, it's been a challenge, and you could say, oh well, you know, there's been an increase in population, and Gainesville has grown, but really the States has become so credit card oriented when it comes to, you know, Hilton Honors and Marriott Bonvoy members. You get points. It's hard for us to compete. Yeah. So we definitely have to do calisthenics to stay up with keeping relevant. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
All good.
Yeah. Yesterday I didn't have my phone for about 4 hours. I had 52 messages on my phone. 52 text messages. Right now is move-in season. I have a lot of rentals in historic Gainesville, and it was like, oh my god. Yeah.
How have guest expectations changed over the decades? Have you had to sort of change what you offer and change the experience for guests, or has it kept pretty much the same?
Well, I've always been an owner that really kept up with the times. Like, I would not ever have a room that didn't have a private bath. And, and at Magnolia Plantation, I think they had a room that they had to share a bath. That didn't last long. Yeah. I was one of the first people to have modems in the rooms, and I had my website up early, but you know, just making sure that, and I always say that we have all the creature comforts of a major hotel. That you walk in and all the things are in place as far as iron and ironing boards and extra pillows and blankets in the closet and all those things that you don't, coffee makers easily accessible. I used to have them in all the rooms, but I've gotten away from that. And apparently a lot of hotels are starting to get coffee makers out of the rooms so that they can sell them at the Starbucks downstairs. So anything to maximize the revenue. So people come here, and I think part of the secret sauce is that they can park. Yeah. Right. And the other thing is that they have all of the things that they get anywhere else. The only thing I don't have is, which a lot of hotels don't, is a restaurant, which has been in this location, actually where we're currently seated. This was a sweet tea restaurant. And one day I hope to bring back, Ron and I have been talking about it, but I actually have some ideas of how it could come back, because it does create relevance. And guests love it. So they love being able to come in and have lunch or have a snack or tapa and a drink. So my biggest challenge is that the East Side is still struggling. And for all of the effort that goes into it, it's just yes, it's true that there's a lot of inhibitors because we're historic properties, and sometimes that's another big struggle. Is I understand safety codes and all that, but you have to be business conscious, business minded, and unfortunately, a lot of the bureaucrats at the planning office are not. And they also they don't understand that time is of essence. So I currently have a retreat center opening, and the delays involved with the city planning and with Gainesville Regional Utilities has been astounding. It's like, how does anybody get anything done? No wonder they just go to Marion County, where it's like, okay, yeah, you want that permit? Sure, we're ready to go. I mean, there's only so much delay in a business setting that can be acceptable.
What was it like, I guess, opening the sweet tea restaurant? What different challenges did that pose?
Well, because I was pretty much a solo act, I had a partner who had actually, after like the first 4 months, realized he had a pretty serious form of cancer, stomach cancer. But I was alone at it mostly. I think it would do really well again, and I wouldn't be alone doing it, but I would basically be in the back of the house and then be serving at the front and taking orders and seating people. It was just a bit much on top of everything else that we did. But it really helped people become aware of the Sweetwater property. It sold weddings, it sold rooms. It's definitely a natural fit, as long as our kitchen can stay safe, because I don't want to see this place burn. That's a big concern. A lot of these beautiful properties end up in peril because of kitchen fires. So
when did Sweetwater Catering begin?
So Sweetwater has been, when I opened the McKenzie Hall in 1995, we were a venue only. And I quickly realized that the quality of food was sort of, because it was here, I remember being an attendant going, I wanted to make a big sign that said, this is not Sweetwater Catering. This is not us catering. And so it started with me just being in the kitchen. I had a commercial license because of the breakfast area is basically a commercially licensed kitchen. So I started cooking. And so I guess it really started in when I closed the venue to outside caterers, I guess it was probably 97, 98. But we didn't really we started our first off-premise catering with WFT, because we used to do their board meetings. And so I would cater. It was the only place I catered out for. And I would pack everything. It was totally a solo act. I would do all of it, pack the van and or my car. They were just small meetings with maybe 35 people. And so I started doing WFT's board meetings. And then it grew from there, very little by little. So, and we've considered closing the off-premise catering and just sticking to on-site catering only. But I'm a little reluctant to do it. But I also realize that, especially if I bring on the restaurant, we'll probably have to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see.
Did you find it brought in events and weddings and
Oh,
things
absolutely.
like that? Yeah.
Absolutely it does. I mean, the fact that brides can do a one-stop shop and that they basically just need to get their dress, the photographer, and flowers and entertainment, all the catering part of it, and very rudimentary if they want to keep it really simple for as far as table decorations, we can provide those things if someone's really on a budget. But
yeah. Was 1995 when you started offering the event venue, like using the space as an event venue?
1995 is when I opened the McKenzie Hall.
Okay, yeah.
But we were not catering at that time. It was strictly a venue.
Yeah.
And I hired an attendant to turn on the air conditioning, turn it off. We didn't even set up tables and chairs. I don't think we even had tables and chairs then. We didn't. You had to bring in your own tables and chairs. But in 1995, there was basically the Thomas Center, and that's it. There was not a lot of places to have your event. So we were busy. We were busy. Yeah.
The Thomas Center is where my parents got married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I got married too.
That's nice. Can you talk a little bit about the local history displays throughout the property? I saw in one of the city rooms a little bit of history on the wall and that kind of thing. Yeah.
So I decided when I started opening the Florida cottages and the Mills Pound cottages to curate them a little better. I'd seen in a publication that I read with the Boutique Lodging Association that there was a new brand called Museums Hotel. And I thought, oh, wouldn't that be fun? As a matter of fact, I haven't stayed one yet, but we're going to. John and I are going to do that. Where you stay in a room that is like a museum on some level, that it has descriptions of where you are. Everyone loves a story. That's why you're doing what you do, that it ties people to something that's important to them, whatever story it might be. Yeah. At the end of Game of Thrones, the guy who ended up being the leader was the guy who was the story keeper.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I wanted to tie the rooms to our local area, and I didn't do it for the Matheson cottages. I could still go back and do it. But as I developed, so this place has been 33 years of development, of my own development, of what I find important. And as a kid, for me, it was saving the homes to start with. And then the second stage was, okay, now letting people come in and savor what it's like to stay in somewhere historic that's not a box hotel.
Yeah.
And then I said, okay, let's take it to another level and let's do something that has, so I don't know if you noticed that the rooms also have books, right? There's in Cross Creek, there's the Cross Creek Cookery, and books that really tie you into the story of where you're at. Yeah. So that they then, it piques a curiosity of, oh, let's explore this or let's explore that. And it becomes more memorable.
Yeah, right? Yeah, definitely. Do you have any, I guess, historic records or documents about the grounds and the houses and the people that used to live here?
I do. Cool. As a matter of fact, if you want to see them, I have the Cushman-Colson house. And I don't know if the state of Florida still has this in place as a program, but they used to actually give you, the Department of Interiors would give you a tax credit, not a tax deduction. Tax credit, meaning it came right off the bottom line from your taxes. Yeah. When you restored things in compliancy. Basically, it had to be not just the facade, because the city of Gainesville really just cares about what is forward facing. Yeah. And that the facade looks a certain way in keeping with, like, porches are sacred, right? They're not to be enclosed anymore, because you've all seen, front porches, Victorian front porches that have horrendous jalousie windows enclosures from the 60s. But the Department of Interior would actually give you a tax credit if you documented everything, not only in the outside, not just the back and the front, the entire place inside. Wow. So, for example, if you wanted to put in arches, which my mother had put in, it's a long story. When I came back from Kenya, I just made it a couple weeks too late, and she had put in all these archways. And they were not going to fly with the Department of Interiors. So all this stuff had to be I didn't just start at 0. I started at -5 when I came in from Kenya. People say, "Oh, your mom started." I'm like, "Oh no, my mom did not start Sweetwater. I started it, and it was not easy. She didn't even have an architect on record, and she didn't have a building permit. But that's my mom, the way she flies. Love her, but yeah, she has her own beat, her own drum. Anyway, so as far as the state would basically give you a tax credit if you restored within their realm, and so I have very intensive documentation so that I could get and earn the tax credit, and I actually had to hire a historian to get all of that done.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah.
How do you see Sweetwater fitting into, I guess, the wider history of Gainesville? I mean, you've talked about it a lot, but how do you feel?
Well, I have a vision for what this place could be in 10 or 15 years. Sometimes I think, oh, I'm not going to make it. But I do want to see it come to fruition. Creating anchors for other things to spring forward from is sort of my mother's way, and I mirror that in some way. And so I have the most beautiful historic building that was built probably around the same time as this house, as this house was called the Nichols Estate. And that was actually right next to the Cushman-Colson house, which is the building right next to us right now. The Nichols Estate was bigger than this house, and it was demolished to build the Church of Christ. So I don't know if you've ever been to a place called the Village Greens in New York.
No, I haven't.
Well, have you been there, Ron?
To where?
In New York, called the Village Greens.
Village Green.
It's a huge property that's very Victorian that does tea. Anyway, it's a community, and creating an anchor that would then spur other development for our east side is definitely a goal. That I could potentially take back what is now the Salvation Army. It became the Church of Christ. They demolished the Nichols Estate and put in a building that is pretty horrendous in my estimation. It doesn't fit at all with the community architecturally. It really became obsolete within 10 years. So it's so tragic that beautiful building came down to build something that didn't even stand because they didn't realize that they couldn't beat the mass exodus for West because they had bigger parking lots. The cars were so huge they couldn't even fit cars in that parking lot. And so it didn't translate into attendance, because I think that's what they were trying to achieve. And so I would love to buy that property and have it come back to the community. And it can't become housing per se. I mean, some of it could become single family apartments or condominiums, but that it could become part of this community again, and architecturally be relevant and complementary to the architecture that's here, that's already here, and that the Power District, which is the 27 acres that the Gainesville Regional Utilities owns, that is laying fallow, which is such a shame. All of that needs to be revitalized, that those two things will come to fruition, and that this area could have relevance again, and that it could in some way combat this mass exodus of junk that's being built on the west side of town. That's all it's all bottom line oriented, and it's just not the way I was raised. My viewpoint is definitely more old world European, and that you build things that really create meaning for people in their heart and in their soul, of like what withstands this test of time. And so I would love to see this become something where I could literally close off the streets and I could do work with the Matheson Museum, and there's a park right next door that you could not have to close the downtown streets, and that it could be something that that the Downtown Arts Festival, all kinds of community events could happen here, and really bring back. So once people are surrounded by these buildings, I think it changes them in some way, right? It creates advocacy. And people are like, oh, this is what I long for. I long to be around something that I can embrace and that I can understand. These block hotels, I see some of these hotels that are going on, I'm like, that might as well just be a hospital.
Yeah.
And it's just like, how does that look inviting or human?
Yeah.
And sort of some of our architecture has become very dehumanizing. And I think that these old buildings really are diametrically opposed to that dehumanizing architecture that I see going into, bottom line oriented buildings.
Yeah.
They don't even have balconies.
Yeah.
So it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that that the new generation will embrace this and appreciate it, and that that the dream of Sweetwater can continue beyond me, and that it can. And that's why I'm trying to let go of things and realizing that I can't do it all, and that I would need help making that happen. And it's a long-term goal. Long-term goal.
I guess into sort of day-to-day operations, what's a day working at Sweetwater? What does it look like for you?
Well, I always say to be in hospitality, you have to be certifiable. So you have to be certifiable on some level, but you have to be sane at the same time, because you've got to show up 100%. You have to be well, you have to be arrested in some capacity because you're dealing with so much. I had to get out of all of the day-to-day because I was just about to go insane. I've been at this for 33 years, and I've been at the same place. And I haven't had enough of a break. And I have this vision of being able to be gone for a couple months in the summer. That did not happen this summer, but hopefully for next year it will happen. We'll see. The day-to-day is something that, is that day-to-day. You just have to okay, all in a day. Just kind of go with it. Some days are great. Some days are like you just want to commit Harry-Carry. Give it to me.
I think it changes every single day. No 2 days are the same in hospitality.
Yeah, it's really true. No 2 days are the same in hospitality. Yeah. And you get hit with people's road rage. It's like, oh gosh, oh really? Okay. And there's some people we know you just cannot make happy, but you're actually housing them at night. And creating shelter for them, so you're very up close and personal. You're not just serving them a burger. So. It gets personal quickly. It gets personal quickly.
Or maybe it needs to get reset. They want it in a different style, or something happened to an air conditioner. Or there's many things that happen during the day that make it not the same every day.
How many people do you employ, and where does everyone work? What does everyone do?
All right, so Sweetwater Branch Inn has approximately 30 employees, give or take. Most of them are in the catering and events department, and a lot of them are part-time work, occasionally based, meaning that they're event-driven, right? Event-driven. And then, of course, we have the housekeeping staff, and so it quickly adds up. Quickly adds up. I have at one point I had 3 maintenance people, a person that does the setup, and a person that does the landscaping, and then a person that oversees it and does a lot of the hardscape. As you might notice, Sweetwater has a lot of brick, and so I have a hardscape mason, my Italian Rocco, who's been here for about 5 years now. Is really important because brick get dislodged and things become precarious, and so I have to make sure that the walkways are maintained. So it quickly adds up. I mean, you can get 6 housekeeping staff, because these rooms don't get cleaned like a cookie cutter hotel. They require a lot more. You have to have someone who's willing to go up steps and stairways, and not just one set, sometimes 2. Because this is a 3rd story. I have rooms on the 3rd story. And then just with event directors and front desk and bookkeeping and dishwasher for the events, dishwasher for the kitchen. All of a sudden you've got 30 people.
So. What's the maintenance and upkeep of the property like, especially the buildings?
Intense.
Considering, yeah.
Unbelievable. I mean, no one has ever asked me if I'd like to sell this place. And there's a reason, because anybody who knows anything about business looks around and goes, this is not a money-making endeavor. I mean, I've been able to not really necessarily be profitable, but at least I'm not losing money, because otherwise that would be ludicrous to do all of this and actually not make any money.
Yeah.
And, you know, you say, well, this place is worth, I don't know, people have done a value of this place and something crazy, crazy number they shoot out. I'm like, who would ever do that? It's like, why would you ever? You could buy mini storage and make money a lot faster. Or, you know, you could buy a 45-room hotel, motel. But it is definitely for the love of doing what we do. Yeah. And the people who work here get it. They enjoy working here. I think that my general manager and operations manager and those that follow understand the beauty when they come to work. Like, oh, I work in a nice place, so it counts for a lot, right? And it does set the culture for the place. So, yeah,
definitely. What are the busiest times of year for you guys?
So we have a wonderful program with Road Scholar where we do all-inclusive nature-based travel.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And that comes from my heritage with Holbrook travel, my mother's beginnings. And it's where I used to work in Kenya with Road Scholar Elder Hostel. So that gets geared up. It really does start to get geared up in January. So January, February, March are probably our highest occupancy. You know, as far as the events, it's so sporadic and erratic. I can't tell you, like sometimes September will be crazy busy and then other Septembers are dead. I can't make rhyme or reason of things now sometimes. I don't really understand it. You could say, oh, well, the winter months. No, it's not always. Of course, during COVID, we were really busy in the summer because nobody could go anywhere. And so all the summer camps were closed, and we were, I don't know, our occupancy was like 85%.
Wow.
We didn't have enough rooms to accommodate everybody during COVID summers. And that was two pretty clear summers where we were running at a clip. Yeah. So.
How did you navigate COVID? I guess, was it a difficult time, or, I mean, you were full of people. Occupancy at first was terrible. The summer was great. Our events were dead. Yeah.
Right? There were no events. We couldn't even have an event. We had to close down. So fortunately, the the payroll protection program, PPP, did a lot. And we also received some money for earned income credit, which basically tried to help close the gap for what happened during COVID to our business. Yeah. So we navigated it through assistance. Yeah.
Would you say that was one of the more difficult periods for the business, or what do you think was the most difficult time?
I think the 2008, 2009 stock market crash was probably more significant. We didn't get any help. Yeah, there was no help for that. Yeah. So, but that, it did take a while to recover, but there wasn't near as much competition at that time. So it was for us, it was short. But then what happened is money became really cheap after that stock market crash and the real estate crash. They were trying to incentivize and loaning money at like 2.3%. Yeah, so a lot of people got on that bandwagon, and so a lot of the growth that you see with the hotels and the apartments was money that was able to be obtained in the year 2010, 2011, 2013. Yeah, a lot of loans were secured to ensure development of real estate. Yeah, and so in the end, that cheap money definitely overbuilt. I think it's close to being overbuilt. I don't know at what point, what kind of marketing analysis they're doing to build new hotels. Yeah. I don't know. Ron's going to have to speak to that. I don't know at what point they're going to stop.
They keep going. There's new ones planned now.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I guess Florida's growing. I wish they would. Some of them would come to the east side of town. You know?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but not. I don't really want another box hotel, but anything that would bring some more economic vitality to the east side. It's like I almost welcome it. It's like just bring it on. I mean, I go to the west side for all my services now. It's really sad how few services are available to us on the east side of town.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
How you talked a little bit about this, but how has sort of the rise of like Airbnb impacted the business?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's definitely impacted our segment of the business. Because the person that wants to think outside of the box of a corporate entity, right, like the Holiday Inn and all of those standard places, is willing to accept things that color outside the line of what traditional hospitality looks like, right? Yeah. And fortunately, I think Airbnb is, people are understanding that the realities of what Airbnb stays are, and that there's really not a lot of governance and consistency, and that what might seem like a really cheap stay ends up, well, you put the cleaning fee on it, it's $120 for cleaning fee plus linens. But honestly, that's what it has to be, because you're getting people who aren't even getting a consistent paycheck. You've got to pay them $35 an hour for them to carve out time to do your Airbnb on a Sunday or a Monday. Yeah. So, I mean, some people don't understand, well, how is it that it costs that much to clean a house? Well, who's going to spend their Sunday, just Sundays, committed to cleaning an Airbnb on their Sundays? And they're usually, so it's not an automatic fit for a lot of people. So you have to pay pretty well to get it done. And, places like Spin Laundry, all these laundry facilities are making money, but again, it's a lot of the Airbnb market has gone to these laundry companies that will pick up the laundry and take it back. Yeah. But it's easily $75, $80 every time. Yeah. So that's why cleaning bills are what they are, because you don't have the volume, right? Yeah. And they're not ergonomically, nothing is like set. Every house is different. You've got to travel to this house, travel to that house. So some of the Airbnb, I know that the stock in Airbnb has definitely diminished recently. There's also neighbors that hate it, and there are also lots of problems with urban areas that no longer have workforce housing available, like in Barcelona. And I'm sure you might have heard about that whole uprising. The people are like, we don't have any places to stay anymore. You want us to come in and commute to work every day like that? Yeah. So, So anyway, it's an interesting question, but yeah, it has definitely impacted. The prices are just, they're not even, Airbnb doesn't even really take compression, which is, when things are into account. And so if you've got your house on an Airbnb, man, all of a sudden you've rented it for $220, it's really worth more like $650, but Airbnb doesn't look out for its hosts either. So we'll see where that where that business model goes. Going forward, we'll see. Yeah. As
far as room sales, it floods the market during special events. So if you're like a football game or graduation, Gator Nationals, there's like 1,000 that come out on Airbnbs.
Yeah. Interesting. You guys also host wellness retreats and corporate events. When did you sort of start?
That happened very organically. Basically, people that like Caterpillar Ring Power came to me because they had done a retreat, one of their human development and leadership retreats in St. Augustine, and it didn't really work out price-wise. And so somebody Patrick at Ring Power found me. I'll never forget when they came in the door. I was right there. And it just sprang forward, and it's been, close to a 5-year partnership, which has been really, really beneficial. Yeah. But wellness has always been one of my great loves. I mean, I feel like if I don't take care of myself, I can't take care of anybody. Yeah. And I certainly can't take care of my guests. Yeah. So, and I feel like I have been in this gilded cage for a long time now, and I'm really hoping that when I do retire, I'll have the health to do it. Maybe I can help other people with that. So it's definitely driven by a love for wellness. So, in my own personal life. So,
just a few more questions.
Okay.
How did you curate and sort of develop the catering and the breakfast menus? What went into that process?
Well, I was at the helm of breakfast for probably 28 years. I traveled a lot and seen different menus. It actually used to be when I was there a little more creative, but it wasn't streamlined. So I realized that if I wanted to eliminate myself from that equation, it had to be more streamlined. So it's not quite as fun as it used to be. It used to come in and guests from way back, like, I remember you used to do this and this and this and this and this. I'm like, yeah, well, that was me, but I can't keep doing it. But actually, some of my guests would help me with recipes. Some of the French toast casserole recipe that we've had for probably 28 years came from a guest, you know, and people that would share ideas with me. And the catering menu was developed through my love for food, and also a lady named Kathleen Escamilla. She helped me with the beginnings of Sweetwater's catering. Some of the menu items that are on our catering menu were from her and I brainstorming literally 30 years ago and putting together a menu. Maybe not 30, but 28 for sure.
Yeah,
so,
cool.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing on the menu?
The Italian rolled flank, which is actually that's not on the menu anymore because it's just too labor intensive. It doesn't make sense, but it's a lot of steps, but it is delicious. I'll have to make it for you sometime. Ron. It's a really good dish. So, yeah.
And do you have a blog about the inn? Yeah.
We do. We have a blog. We do have blogs. We're really hoping that we can expand the blog thing. It's been on the discussion table for a long time. We haven't been able to move it forward to get some new blog posts up there, but yeah.
If you go online onto our website, there's a lot of blogs on there about all kinds of tourism items.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but not recent ones, I don't think.
Yeah.
We haven't posted recently, but it's been on the docket of things to do. But yeah.
And you talked about this a little bit already, but are there any other future expansions or projects or ideas that you have for the inn?
Well, the retreat center is about to open in November.
Yeah, cool.
So that's going to be it's going to be a venue that will work for up to probably 40 people, and it can be used for all kinds of things. All kinds of things. The Rhodes Scholars can meet there. Ring Power might end up moving their meetings over there, although they do like where they are. Certainly for wellness, for yogis to come and teach. Yeah. So there's a whole nother chapter that has to come to fruition with the retreat center. Yeah. And little by little it will. Yeah. So
cool.
Yeah.
What role do you think that Sweetwater plays in the community? And I guess what are your relationships with the other businesses in the community?
Well, Sweetwater is relevant because we host some of the most important days of people's lives, right? Because we do weddings. Yeah. So I can't go anywhere without somebody saying, "Oh, Sweetwater Branch Inn, my mother got married there," or and I've had a few events that, well, my mother got married here, now I'm getting married here. So we're becoming a bit of a legacy property, a legacy hospitality entity. And really that's the reason why I really wanted to have Ron Grommel here, because he's part of that on a community-based level. And he also loves inns, and he loves historic properties. And so he, who I choose to help guide Sweetwater for the future definitely has to have that spirit of community, right? Because that's really where our heart lies. Yeah.
And Cornelia gives to so many nonprofits. I mean, she's really charitable when it comes to helping out the community.
Yeah, I do. I feel like if I can help.
This is my last question. Avi might have something else, but when people look back at Sweetwater, and I guess when you retire eventually, what do you hope that people remember?
I will die one day. I don't like to think about that, but yeah, I will. I will hit the bucket.
Retirement first.
I'd like to have that opportunity. But so does Ron.
What do you hope that people will see as your legacy and what you, I guess, brought to Sweetwater into the inn?
Oh, definitely my heart. I mean, this is all built from a love for hospitality and a love for creating a space where people can flourish and enjoy the beautiful things of life.
Yeah.
And that's kind of everywhere. And, you know, that mark of, I rarely do anything half-assed. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. I'm going to do it with taste. Within realm, of course, within some kind of, I mean, I am a business person as well. I mean, let's face it. I wouldn't be here if I have some semblance of business sense. But yeah, just Sweetwater has its own life now. I just really would like for it to walk a little bit more on its own. I always say Sweetwater is the child that hasn't grown up. Yeah, my daughter's 30 and she's all grown up, and thank God she's so self-sufficient. She really doesn't want anything to do with Sweetwater. That's not her. That's not in her future. My son is 16. He's definitely a 16-year-old, but he is, you know, he's going to grow up. Sweetwater, I don't know. I really wanted to grow up. But yeah, definitely Sweetwater is, I always, when I restore a house, I always say, oh, that was my third born, or those are my twins, because the Mills Pound cottages are identical, and so I call them my twins. So it is sort of a birthing when you go through the process of renovation and restoration. It is definitely a painful process, and it occupies so much space, mentally, physically. And so my legacy will be this baby, which is Sweetwater.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And all the experiences it's created.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. And yeah, so whenever I travel around this community and even other places, like, oh, I've heard of Sweetwater. So it's, you know, we've been open long enough that people do recognize it, have come here for a wedding, even for people from Seattle, California. They're like, oh, yeah. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. That's it?
I think so. Avi, do you have any last questions?
No, thank you. Thank you guys so much for your time. Really appreciate it. And sorry I couldn't make it up today.
You're fine.